Hey everyone, welcome back to Small Batch Devs. My name is Austin.
And I'm Elliot. Today we are covering a very important topic that will help increase traffic to your site, and that is search engine optimization, also known as SEO.
There are many ways of increasing your SEO on your website, but today we will be covering sitemaps and robots files. Beep, beep, boop, bop.
And stick around to the end because we're going to show you how to generate a dynamic sitemap file for our blog application, as well as serve up a static robots file.
Do it. So what is SEO, bro?
Well, SEO is a pretty broad term, but essentially it's an effort to increase your website's position in search results, like on Google, Bing, or Yahoo, or some other search engine.
Some of the more prominent topics of SEO include sitemaps, robot files, backlinks, and meta tags.
So Austin, why should I be concerned about SEO?
So as you know, when a user uses a search engine, a list of websites will be returned based off their search results, and improving your SEO will just raise your website's ranking in that list returned.
And your website's ranking in that list is called its search ranking, right?
That is correct. And the higher your search ranking will typically mean you'll get more clicks on your website than someone who is lower on the list.
Now, to come up with that list of websites, Google and other search engines have to constantly look at every website, and they do that with web crawlers, which are also known as bots.
And these bots will visit your web page, they'll go through all the HTML, all the images, all the links, and just remember everything. And this happens on every website really out there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Absolutely nuts.
It is important to note that the majority of bots will not run any JavaScript on your site. They will only be looking at your HTML. So you should implement some form of pre-rendering or server-side rendering so that your JavaScript has a chance to run and update the HTML so it looks good whenever a bot does come across it and parse it.
You should also serve the bots the exact same content that the user sees. Said another way, you shouldn't be altering your HTML specifically for these bots. That's called cloaking, and it's a huge no-no.
And Google is pretty good at spotting it.
So don't be a bad boy.
Don't do it.
So let's talk about sitemaps real quick. Sitemaps are a list of your site's routes. It can be any route in your website, or it could be a specific set.
A sitemap just helps the bot by providing a starting list, and it can also include routes that might not be linked to by your site's other pages, which are normally not found by bots.
Sitemaps are an easy way for us to help the bots find pages on our website so that they can crawl them. But this does not mean or guarantee that they will be returned in search results.
It is also important to note that bots will usually find the majority of your site's URLs on their own anyway by simply parsing the HTML and just visiting every link in your HTML.
As for the robots file, this just tells the bots what they are allowed and not allowed to look at.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that bots are already looking for your sitemap and robots files. We just have to give them one.
Now that we've covered some of the basics of sitemaps and robot files, let's go ahead and jump into some code.
Finally. We'll start with the sitemap. We're going to generate ours in an XML format.
To do that, we're going to be using a very handy node library called Sitemap. It will basically allow us to give it a set of URLs and it will generate a sitemap for us.
Wow, that NPM package is aptly named. To install the sitemap library, all you need to do is run npm install sitemap. It's pretty straightforward.
Couldn't be more straightforward.
Now we're going to jump into the implementation of the sitemap generation. If you want to follow along, we'll have a link to our Github repository in the link down below. So let's get started. First, you'll see here we have a method called getDynamicRoutes. What you're going to want to do in this method is return a list of all of your website's URLs as a string array. You can see we're using Firestore to grab all of our URLs from our database, but you can use whatever you want here.
By actually reaching out to Firestore and getting all our posts and using those in our sitemap, this is kind of what makes it dynamic. So every time you hit that page, the sitemaps page, it'll load our actual blog posts and create a sitemap entry for them.
Next is the generate sitemap function, where we're going to be implementing the node package module sitemap we installed earlier. So if we just start from the top, we're going to be setting the host name to our domain, and obviously you'll want to replace this with your domain. The change frequency is set to weekly. This can be weekly or daily or monthly or yearly. It's really dependent on how often these specific pages will be changing. This tells Google how often to come back and check these pages for updates. Next, you can see we're creating a sitemap stream, and this is going to be specific to that NPM module. After that, we're going to run through all of our static routes in a for each loop. We don't have any static routes, but if you had a home page, a login page, or any other static routes that you just wanted to implement every time, you would set those up here. Next, we're going to be using our dynamic routes method, and that's going to be returning our string array to us. And we're going to loop through each one of those, and you can see here we're adding it to the sitemap stream. We're just providing a URL, and again we're using that weekly change frequency. And then we're going to end this stream, and the response from this Firebase Cloud function is going to be the output of that sitemap stream, which is going to be a generated XML file.
Now it's time for the robots file. As you can see, we have a very simple robots file here. We're saying that any user agent will allow any route on our website. You can specify multiple user agents in your robots file. You can obviously give allow and disallow parameters. And then the last thing is we're pointing to our sitemap location.
So web crawlers are going to be looking for your sitemap file and your robots file at predefined locations. As you can see in the robots, you can change where the sitemap is located, but web crawlers will usually default to the root level of your app, so /sitemap.xml and /robots.txt. Now, what's really cool is that these files are public, so you can look for examples in more popular websites like Facebook or Stack Overflow. You can just type in facebook.com/robots.txt and you can see how they're using theirs. So you're going to want to set up however you're hosting your website and reserve those two URLs to host your dynamic function for your sitemap and to serve your robots file on those specific routes.
So we have gone ahead and deployed our sitemaps TypeScript to Google Cloud Function. We do have a video right here if you want to learn more about Google Cloud Functions and how to set that up. But as you can see, our Sitemap XML is on the root level of our Small Batch Devs website. And this is kind of what it looks like actually deployed. And this is the robots.txt file that we have deployed with our app. We're not deploying it with Google Cloud Function. It's just included in the package of our entire web app, all the source code and whatnot. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Pretty basic.
Yeah, super pretty.
Today we discussed some of the basics of SEO, as well as dived into two of the key components of SEO, sitemaps and robot files.
We also walked through the dynamic sitemap generation code and a working robots.txt file, and then we demoed them in our browser.
So thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell.
See ya.
Peace. Now that we've covered some of the basics...
Sorry. I really had to clear my throat.
Are you ready?